calling somebody.
All right, new business. City Attorney. We'll review and discuss select candidates for interview for the city manager position.
Okay, yes, let me get this started by saying that under the Florida Sunshine Law, we are going to need to start from the full, I believe it was 49 candidates. Y'all have received the information about each of them, and we have gotten recommendations from our consultant with regard to, I believe, 8 of them, but in no way does that eliminate the other of the 49 from consideration for tonight. So your first item of business with regard to this would need to be, and it could include people on the recommended list and others that were not, whatever suits you. I suggest that you go through and each of you say the people, you think would be appropriate to interview.
I'd just like to say that Colin's online, who's our search firm head, and he also gave us some suggestions on how to go about this process. He asked us to eventually, after we speak about candidates, fill out a straw poll. We can add names if we choose to, and we pick, select potential candidates for interviews. Then those end up being tallied. And Karen, are you doing that on the screen?
I'll have it on my computer.
Okay, so that'll get, public will see who picked who, and then the one with the top, either the top 4 or the top 5, depending on how the scores come out, would be the ones that we bring in for interviews, and that would be at the end of the month on the, I think 28th, 29th is the time frame. So just to kind of let everybody know the big picture of what's going on, and then after those interviews, we'll reconvene for a public meeting, and we'll, as a commission, interview the finalists, and the public will get a chance to ask questions also, and we'll have an opportunity at that meeting to make a selection, or we could defer to the following commission meeting to make a selection. Did I get that right, Colin? You on mute?
Yes, you did. You did.
Okay. So I guess while I'm already talking, I'll go first. I reviewed the resumes of all 49 candidates. I reviewed the additional information that was provided by the search firm for the candidates that they recommended, and I made selections based on that. Are we supposed to divulge those, or just, Karen, just put them on the straw poll and give them to you and you figure it out?
That might be the easiest way to do it.
And then it'll show up, as public record on the screen.
And then if there are any from that were not on the
We can add
pre-printed
them
list,
to
you
the
can
list.
add them.
I said that when I said we could.
I mean, is there, if you have a reason why you chose somebody or didn't choose somebody, I mean, would you want to be at liberty of say why you chose or didn't choose them?
Well,
I think we'll have that discussion.
what I think we do
should.
is,
We pick our
we do the straw poll,
5 choices, and
and
then
if we're skewed off, then whoever chose whatever can say why they chose that one and why they didn't choose another one.
Commissioner Williams, is it correct that the 8 that were recommended by the firm are the ones that, if selected, and then in the first 6 months, for some reason, cannot fulfill the position, are essentially warranted by the firm that they will rerun within the cost that we've already paid a new selection? Is that correct?
Colin, please answer the question.
That's partially correct. It's actually within the first year.
Okay.
But it's only, I think his question was, it's only from the 8 candidates that you recommended and did the in-depth research on.
That is correct. Just the 8 candidates, and those fall under our warranty.
And that would still be at a cost, but at what the actual cost is for you to do those, the research?
That's correct.
All right, so let's fill out our sheets and give them to Karen and let her tally it up. And they'll show up on the spreadsheet in alphabetical order, so the one on the top doesn't have any more oomph than the person at the bottom.
Are we just putting a check mark by them, or?
Yeah, where it says select.
Yes, okay, thank you.
okay.
And check which commissioner you are. These will be public record. And just while she's tallying that up, I'll give you a little history. Tim and I have been here through multiple city manager selections. I've been here for every one since 2007. You were a part of how many? But prior to that, you were here for McKnight, you were here for Macklemore, and you were here for Bob Micah. Okay.
Bob Micah came on just before I got.
Okay. So, previous to those that were mentioned, not necessarily in that order, Chuck Billius was the city manager, and we went through a selection process, and when it came down to the final votes after the interviews, there wasn't agreement on the top choice, okay? And there was agreement on everybody's number 2 choice. So we opted to go ahead and pick the number 2 person because there was more agreement for the number 2 person than there was for the mix on the number 1. In hindsight, that was probably a mistake.
Yes.
We ended up, and it was done by the same search firm, and we ended up with the city manager that interviewed well, but in the job wasn't really keeping up.
I think there's a legal issue.
Okay. Anyway, when he was released, it was public record. It was without cause. He resigned, and there was no cause brought. And I didn't give, oh, I guess we did, but you could figure out which one it was if you want to.
Where are we going with this, Skip?
Well, let me take, I'm trying to tell you
I was
something.
giving Karen time to.
Yeah. So then we picked, then we went through the process with the same firm, and we got Bob Micah on a unanimous vote by the commission. And he turned out to be a great city manager. After that, and he was from a coastal city up in the Panhandle, out toward Pensacola. And then we got Jim McKnight, long-term here in Brevard County, and he got a unanimous vote, and he was long-term and excellent city manager. The last search we did before this, we didn't use Colin Basinger's firm. We used a group of city management association people to do the search and background checks for us. And we did have some disagreement on the final votes to select that person, and that person ended up resigning also. So what I'm getting at is, I think whenever we get to the final thing after the interviews, we need to be able to come to a pretty solid consensus, because if you select somebody on a 3-2 vote, they're probably going to not take the job, because they know all they got to do is lose one commissioner and they're out of a job. So it's very important that we do our due diligence and go through this process and find someone that we can come to consensus on. And another option, should we not be able to come to a consensus, and should we end up with like a 3-2 selection that may not go well, or that candidate may back out because he's only lose one vote and he's gone, then we go to a second choice. They negotiate with them. They may feel the same way. Another option, if we got to that point, would be to ask our current acting city manager to stay a couple more years and develop one of our directorate level employees to be a future city manager.
That's a lot of hypotheticals. Skip, that's a lot of hypotheticals. That's, I think you covered it all.
I plan to.
Awesome, awesome.
Are we,
I'm done.
Not done yet? All right, Joshua, do you have anything to add to this?
I like.
Skip's conversation?
I like Skip's I like you a lot, AJ.
Well,
And I honestly, I looked through all these things, and I'm just trying to say, just out the gate, I think AJ understands Cocoa Beach.
Well, we have that. Given.
And I've talked with AJ, and AJ seems to be interested in sticking around for a little bit.
oh my goodness.
Well,
So I'm
You're
just,
undermining this whole situation.
no, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I've seen what we've got here.
If we don't come to a consensus on a candidate, that
I think we're
after
talking-
the
I think we're
interviews,
talking too much.
is it turns out to be a
I
diamond in the
think-
rough.
I think we're talking too much, and
Then
we
we'll
should
worry
just
about
have a recess until Karen gets the numbers, shows the numbers. and
Yeah,
then we-
she's got 'em.
I just want to clarify, how many are you wanting, 5 or 6?
5,
I thought we were doing 6.
5. That's what
We only
the
picked 5, but
finalists.
I would say
if you
4.
look at this sheet, it says up to 5.
I would say
Oh,
4.
okay. I did.
Please correct.
I gotta add one. I gotta add one here.
So you gotta take one away.
Take one away, I mean.
You picked 9? How did you do that?
Hey, man,
Um,
the instructions are pretty clear, Mr. Mayor.
You didn't read all of this stuff.
yeah, I did. I agree. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. I will have it.
Fortunately, this will be the last time I have to do
Apparently got a year and a half.
it. Well, it takes 8 months for the process, so the guy only had the last 4 months.
And that went over there.
Or girl.
This is as close as I can get it. So we have Michael Hine, Taylor Brown, Michael McLaughlin, and Nathan Summers.
So real quick, can I ask the reason about Mark Taylor? In my initial thought, I was actually not excited about it after reading some news articles and stuff. Then I started diving deeper into what it was all about. And just watched some actually YouTube videos on, there's a lot of press on him. Because he got removed, it seemed like, for opposing books about bestiality and adult content in removing them from the libraries and the schools.
Mayor, I don't think you need to go into details.
You only got one vote.
I know, I was just wondering if that was a factor because of the
I
headlines.
I weighed all the candidates, and as we were in our instructions from the firm, Colin, we were to go through all the press stuff with a very light touch, because the press is what the press is, and they like to sensationalize things, and the person doesn't always get a chance in the press or in the social media to correct the record. So I didn't, I based it more on the references that were available
Okay.
than the social media post.
Susan asked what that for as well.
All right,
The number went.
yeah, so we have 5.
Mhm.
Do we need to make a motion on?
I mean, I guess there's pretty much a consensus here. So, you guys don't want to have any discussion on it, just,
I think we should have, right now, just for the record, who's going to, I'll read it because Karen's not at a mic. We have Taylor Brown, got 4 votes. Michael Henn got 5 votes. Michael McLaughlin got 4 votes. And Susan Sherman got 4 votes. And Nate Summers got 4 votes. And the next closest was a 1 or a 0. So we'll go with those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candidates for our interviews. And Colin, you're going to make the notifications to the candidates?
I will call them directly.
Okay, Colin, our only other order of business here besides public comments is to agree on the one-on-one interview schedule on the 29th. Everybody understands that. You need to be here. It starts at 8:45. Coffee, tea, Danish, and fruit. Everybody going to be able to attend that day?
What's the date? 29th, you said?
29th. So Saturday of Labor Day weekend.
Friday?
Friday of Labor Day weekend.
Starting at what time?
8:45 a.m.
Thursday night as well, 5:30. Thursday at 5:30, Friday all day.
Right.
If I could do Thursday, that'd be better for me.
But Thursdays, they come into town, and we only want them to have to stay one night. So they come into town on the 28th, and we're saying if they're here by 1 o'clock, they get to go for the tour of the city. They have a reception with the staff at 3:30. At 5 o'clock, they have some free time. I guess they could go freshen up. And then from 5:30 to 7 o'clock, we have a reception here in the community room with us, the community and the commission, or the
Here in this
commission.
building, or are we going to do it at the country club?
And we would probably,
In the past, we've done it at the country club.
well, yeah.
I know we have a room
didn't
down
have
there
a
right
pl-
now.
We didn't have a place.
Yeah, but it's also still, I'm just saying, I would suggest we do it at the country club.
I vote here. I go wherever.
Well, all right, why don't we, all
If we're doing like a meet and greet, if that's.
right, we're going to have another meeting between now and then.
Yeah.
So why don't we let staff give us the pluses and minuses on the 21st as to whether we should have it here or whether we should have it down at the country club? Because we don't know what's booked and what's not booked at the country club right now.
Well, staff is here for the country club. I think Roy and Edward.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with waiting a couple days.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll let that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm
Because,
just
you know, they're-
suggesting that that's probably a better environment.
Okay.
I'm okay either way.
I can go either way. All right, so we're set for they show up on the 28th, and we do Friday the 29th, and that lets them be free. After at 4 o'clock, we could potentially meet to make our selection on the 29th.
Have we officially made a decision with a motion? Do we need a motion and a,
I'm just finishing the
Okay.
business at hand that we need to divulge and have Colin know what's going on so he can tell the candidate.
okay.
Okay. So, and then those candidates, because it's Labor Day weekend, they could go home Friday night, they'll still have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to do whatever they would have done for Labor Day weekend. So I'll go ahead and make the motion that the finalists for the interviews be, whoops, I lost it. I think it was Taylor Brown, Mike Henn, Mike McGoughlin, Susan Sherman, and Nate Summers. Got it.
All right, got a motion and a second.
All right,
Any
public comment?
Yeah. Any public comment about this?
Or the process?
Okay.
Close public.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Time and, I guess, so the 29th, all right. We are adjourned. Next meeting is
7 minutes?
in 8 minutes.
year 25 annual budget, that budget totaled 123 million across all funds. The fiscal year 26 proposed annual budget is 105 million, reducing the overall budget by almost 18 million. Okay, as stated before, the proposed millage rate of 6 even was set at the July 17th commission meeting. This is a 0.65 difference from the rollback rate. For informational.
So it will be advertised as a tax increase.
Correct.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yes, it's an increase of about 122,000.
Just trying to stay consistent over all my years.
We appreciate it.
Charge any tax.
Okay, on this slide, we have a consolidated summary of all funds. It shows both revenues and expenses. For the purpose of budget, generally, we project the revenues conservatively. Some of the highlights of this overview. Under business taxes and permits, you'll see an increase in revenue that we've projected related to the new regulations of STRs and BTRs. For charges for services, recently quite a few fees were revised, and we've increased that based upon, or we've increased our projections based upon those increased fees.
Can you tell us why the fines and forfeitures took such a big drop? Is that because of the forfeiture of that property last year?
I believe so, but I could follow up to confirm.
The property that was we ended up tearing down and it went into litigation and then it finally reverted to us and then got sold, which would have been an increase based on the forfeiture?
That's it, yes.
Ones, right?
Well, I'm just saying, in 23, it was 49,000, 24 it was 77, 25 it was 261, and then now it's projected to be 89, so what happened? So I just thought, get that clarified. So you can bring it back to us if Devin doesn't find it while you're talking.
Yeah, somewhere there's money in there. Now, whether that's the reflection of it, I'm not sure, because we collected it.
Otherwise, I think everything looks pretty much in line with, the current inflation rates as far as revenue goes, and then again with the expenditures.
On the expenditure side, for personnel services, the total that we budgeted for fiscal year 26, across all funds, again, it's a 26.6 million. 51% of the budget is for personnel services, personal safety services for public safety items. For the core services, police, fire, EMS, communications, the beach rangers. 8% of that personal services budget is for public works, and 10 is for rates and salary of utility fund. So I just wanted to give a little breakout of how that 26.6 is distributed.
So based on the police and fire contracts, they have already basically a set rate pay increase for 2026 that's already folded in, is that correct?
So union negotiations haven't commenced yet at this time. Right now, they've only reached agreements with LIUNA. Projected increases based off of what the city could afford within the budget for this year, and after the union negotiations commence, we'll make adjustments through a budget amendment if need be.
So, so what was the number that you used for the general employees?
It was 4%.
A 4% increase in January?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe the LIUNA negotiation, that one will be brought to the commission on Thursday at the regular meeting.
And that percentage was?
4%.
4%.
Yes, sir.
But there's non-union employees also in the city that you projected would get the same 4%?
Correct, for COLA.
Okay. Just clarifying that.
Yeah,
In case
absolutely.
any of the employees didn't know, I think it's fairly good increase.
Happy surprise. For
I never get that, but,
reserves,
you know, it's just me.
we're going to go back to your question, Commissioner Williams, for fines and forfeitures. Devin, you found some stuff.
Yes, sorry, I got the big book here. So for our fines and forfeitures, so all that gets wrapped into that number is our court fines for PD, our police education. It's a mixture of civil citations from PD, from development services, from fire. So these are all of like the fines and ticket citations that get written, all the violations, all the civil court notices, ordinances, stuff like that all make up that number. It's all in the breakdown of the revenue under fines and forfeitures in your NAVLine reports, but that's what makes up that number.
It's completely insignificant though to the intergovernmental increase. Right?
No, yeah, I'm just saying, if we got, if what you said is true, and it's just fines and stuff, and it's 261 for 2025, either we've been writing a lot of tickets or doing a lot of fines and code violations and whatever, but why would you project it only to be 89,000 next year? Because everybody's like got the message and nobody's speeding anymore, and
No, I would say essentially it's to be more conservative. So for a lot of those revenue account numbers, the departments do budget within those. But for example, the year-end estimate is exactly what it looks. It's estimated. I would say based on the types of citations going after the Airbnb properties, that's kind of what escalated at this. But for next year, they anticipate everybody to be following the rules. So maybe not as many citations will be written. So it is more of a conservative approach in case they don't meet that number.
okay. Okay, I was just wondering, there was a time when that property came into the books, and I couldn't remember if it was last year or not.
Real quick, I mean, that's a very interesting number, you know, basically almost 200,000 more from one year to the next. That's just Airbnb fines?
No, that's,
Courts and all the things
Everything.
that were listed out. The other thing we found from past audits is that previous administration were overstating some of the revenues in their past budgets. The actuals come in at the point of time of audit, which is then recorded in what's the 23 actuals, the 24 actuals, since those audits have commenced. But when we were comparing what the budgeted values were against what the actuals were, there was a drastic difference. That's one of my thoughts when I'm looking at the estimated revenues for 2025, is just because, you know, I think there was from looking through how things were done before, there was overstating of revenues to expend, but it wasn't proportionate or correct. I want to point out on this slide also, while we're here, the reserve balance. So right now, the reserve balance across all funds is 16.2 million. It's drastically decreased due to the large city projects that were completed without bond issuance or assuming additional debt. My goal in the next few years is to present conservative budgets, seek additional revenue streams, diversify those streams, and to increase these reserves to get to a healthy balance again.
so your estimate for how many months of operating expenses that 16 million would cover is how many months?
About 2.5 to 3 months in an emergency situation. We have that ordinance, I believe it's, I have it
Yes.
on the next slide.
The
I'm
goal,
gonna discuss it.
the best practice is 3 months, so we're not
Yes.
that far off with the 16 million.
No, we aren't, but it's drastically lower than where we were if you look at the 24 actuals of 34 million.
Yeah.
So I
understood.
think just to get back and restore balances and to also meet the needs of the ordinances in place, to have funds set aside for future capital projects along with having funds set aside for emergency situations is important for the city's overall fund health balance.
We use quite a bit of that 24 reserves for where we're sitting right now.
Correct.
Well, you're not sitting, but.
I have to say, maybe I missed this because I was looking at some numbers, but was there some conversation about the intergovernmental increase? The intergovernmental increase is approximately $18 million, which is literally the $170,000 we're talking about in fines and I'll wait until you guys are done, because I'd really like you all to
Yeah,
hear
wanna
what I
it,
have to say.
But Skip's playing us music, so, okay, go ahead.
Is your phone going off, or?
I have a sensor in my boat, and it tells me temp, humidity, and if the boat's sinking.
What about your blood pressure? Does it have my blood pressure? Because it's probably going off right now.
Just hit the button when it
All
starts
right.
making noise, so it'll silence
So
it.
we were talking about fines and forfeitures for some reason for $170,000, yet the intergovernmental increase was 18.4 million, which is literally 100 times, more than 100 times that loss. So what happened there?
Some of those revenues are related to grants, the timing that grants come in. Sometimes we could request reimbursement. It doesn't mean that it's going to come in within that same fiscal year that it was budgeted. So a lot of those are just timing of situations and things of that nature.
Those are a lot of grants because, in '24, we had 9.6 million intergovernmental. 23 million is huge. And I know we do have a new grant writer. I'm glad to hear that. Because that's huge, because our previous grant writer generated tens of millions of dollars for the city. And unfortunately, he's no longer here. 18 million is big. And I agree with you with our reserves, even going lower to 16 million is not good. The payback, everybody talks about FEMA, FEMA's gonna pay us back, but FEMA doesn't pay the city back for sometimes 5 to 8 years. And it's hard to recover from that. So if we do get hit by a hurricane, we're gonna be cutting it close,
Absolutely.
so.
Is that intergovernmental, is that some of that due to that capping project, or is that
No, the
on hold, I
capping
guess?
project was not included in the fiscal year '26 budget because the grant portion was not fully, it wasn't fully funding that project. There was gonna be around a 12 million expense from the city side, and after further evaluation and meeting with some of the granting agencies, it didn't make sense for the city as a whole.
Just to touch on your question, Mayor, the intergovernmental, so since this is across all funds, you have your federal grants, you have your state grants, you have your local unit grants, you have your county grants. So just picture there are multiple grants in those comments and those NAVLine reports across all funds from general fund all the way to stormwater. So that big bulk total, the difference you're seeing is across all funds.
So could we say that previously those grants weren't found in that column?
Yeah, so
In
some of them.
the previous administration that ran the finances, they didn't put those numbers in to that particular intergovernmental column. Does that make sense?
I would say, like Hannah said, it's a mixture of timing. Some of these grants are new, some of these are from the previous year that weren't submitted for reimbursement, that we're re-budgeting in order to properly allocate those funds that are gonna be used for the year, but it's a mixture of both.
Okay. We'll just leave it at that, because it's a significant amount more. Every year you would think that you'd have the same situation where there'd be a backlog of grants coming in.
And some of the SRF
The 23 million is more than we've had in the last, looks like probably, I would guess, 3 or 4 years.
State revolving funds.
Yeah,
So-
the state revolving fund limit would also be recorded under that intergovernmental amount, and that would also cover, of course, projects that are budgeted in utilities, stormwater, any of the, all funds, also be funds.
Question, I don't know exactly who to ask. I'll start with AJ. Do we have Crowder Gulf on the hook this hurricane season? Should we have a storm?
We do.
Okay. Do we have that budgeted in the 2026 budget?
Yes.
We do. So for anybody listening and anybody in the room doesn't know, when a storm comes through, there's more storm debris than Waste Management can handle per their normal contract. Therefore, if you didn't have a contract in place with the company to come in and take care of that nearly immediately, it does take some time because they bring in a FEMA inspector that follows the trucks around and estimates the size of the piles and the weight, and they weigh the trucks when they go to the drop, empty them. It takes a while, but it's a lot quicker than if you had nobody on the hook. So we have a predetermined contract with Crowder Golf to do that. Last year, we had a little blow with Milton. We had quite a bit of debris, but Crowder Golf, asked to bow out gracefully because they were tied up with all the real damage that Milton did in the upper end of the state and up into the other states. So Waste Management stepped up at an additional fee, but it wasn't higher than the Crowder Golf costs, and was able to clean up the city pretty fast. So that's what happened last year. But I'm glad to hear that it is budgeted for this year, and it's currently budgeted, and I'd like for it to stay in the budget for next year.
Sure. Did you guys have any other questions on the consolidated overview of all funds? Okay.
I like that the debt service is going down.
Yes. So the next few slides give a summarization of the revenues and expenses broken out to each fund. The budget for general fund makes up about 55% of the total annual budget. The reserve balance for general fund is 11.3 million. This meets the reserve policy of Ordinance 1681. Based upon the calculation within that ordinance, the minimal reserves to meet the needs of the requirements of the ordinance is 10.2 million. So we are meeting the ordinance with a little residual cushion, but again, it's not a healthy reserve balance to where it should be.
What's the difference between this? I see a lot of the same numbers on the.
General fund.
Oh, okay.
It's really at the bottom under,
Okay, I see, it's just
yeah,
broke, this is
it's the
just,
second from the
yeah.
last number.
okay,
This is your mill.
got it.
Okay. Next, we have the Community Redevelopment Fund, the 125. The CRA reserve balance is currently 1.7 million, which is a healthy balance.
And that 1.789, that money, when the CRA sunsets, is our money, and we'll keep that in a reserve fund for either other things, mostly to do any major maintenance and regular maintenance that needs to be done on the parking garage. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
So that's a good thing that we will have that money, because we know, everybody knows about rebar spalling, and then you get unsafe conditions. We know elevators break, so we'll have some money, and that should continue to hopefully grow between now and when we sunset the CRA.
Absolutely.
And then on the aids, and real quick on the grants and aids, that's the approved funds that are rolled forward that haven't been awarded yet, the 340K. I'm assuming that's the facade grant? So
That's
that's
correct.
not necessarily been awarded, but that's everything that's been committed in
Yes.
years past, okay?
Yes,
got
sir.
it.
I just want to put on your guys' radar too, I am looking to use some of the CRA funds to revitalize Brevard from Minuteman to 4th Street North. So just keep that, guys, on your radar. I'm working with the staff to try to put something together.
Love to see a ROM.
Okay, onto the Building Permit Fund, Fund number 136. With this fund, you'll see that with the commission's revision to the short-term rentals, you'll see a correlating increase to revenue for charges of services with an increase to personnel services with the one approved full-time employee that was added. The reserves for the 136 fund are projected to increase to 923,000, which is a healthy balance for that fund. Okay, moving forward to the Capital Improvement Fund, or the 310. This fund was established in 2020 to separately account for the construction of the police department. After construction was completed, it should have been closed. Instead, it was used incorrectly. There are several factors which led to the negative 6.8 million figure shown. The current fiscal year 25 budget included construction of the new City Hall complex along with Centennial Park. The revenues budgeted in fiscal year '25 were for grants related to Bicentennial Park, but as explained earlier, sometimes the timing in the grants of which they're received, it delays the revenue from coming in, which was a part of what happened, because to date, those grant proceeds haven't been received. Additionally, what I found with this fund is that under revenue, there were transfers completed to support the intended expenses. It's not what I would consider a best practice or recommend doing. To maintain overall a healthy fund, there has to be revenues to sustain the budgeted expenditures, which is what didn't occur in this case. If the city had assumed debt for these projects, it would have been recorded as an incoming revenue to support the budgeted expenses.
So how are you digging us out of this hole?
Well, I would like to close this fund. We're going to bring forth a resolution in the upcoming September meeting to close the fund. It has to be closed the same way that it is opened. The negative 6.8 million has to be absorbed into the general fund, so we're going to have to do some internal paperwork to transfer that amount back over, and that'll be part of the process, including it. So I wanted to make you all aware of it beforehand, so when the resolution comes forth in September, it's been discussed.
You accounted for that in your overall budget slide that you put up at the beginning?
No, not the transfer. So the
But no,
transfer is
but I
gonna,
mean,
The
we're not-
$6.8 million hit.
yes.
Is in the all-up fund.
Yes, in the full, yes.
So it's transparent.
yeah,
Yes, so
it's in the
it's-
overall.
it
You're
is,
just
it's in the
saying this
overall.
is where it came from.
Yes, the overall is still the 16 million for the reserves.
Got it.
So Han, just walk us through real quick, because I know we had pushed through an initiative called what I call the Endeavor Fund. That's not this, right? That's a line item in the general fund?
This is the Endeavor Fund, however, it can still be accommodated, as under Public Works, there's a division, 3170 for capital improvements, and we can add a line item there similar to how it currently is under the 310s, referencing the ordinance, and then each year carry forwarding those funds so they can accumulate as stated within the ordinance.
Right now, that balance is zero, correct? Yeah.
Correct.
I think that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
to have
We
the-
wanted that, I mean, we wanted to only to be approved by use of commission, approved only.
And I think it's just accounting mechanics to make that a line item in a different fund, but it'll be,
Yeah, I'm okay with, I mean, whatever we gotta do to make this right, that's just,
Yep.
it's just as long as we still are trying to do the original intent.
Yeah, the fund itself as it is, it can't sustain itself, but the ordinance can be met through Division 3170. So
Okay.
we can add a line item referencing Ordinance 1687, and it can be accommodated over there.
Okay.
Okay, for the Utility System Fund, Fund 431, we have a total of 33.5 million budgeted. This includes 17 million in capital outlay for various projects. Going forward into the slideshow, we're going to discuss the CIP summaries individually that give a breakout of what projects are included in that amount.
Can you get back just
Oh.
for?
Sure.
So when you're showing that capital outlay at 17 million plus, and then there's a reduction in the reserves of about 2.7 million, that 2.7 million went into that capital outlay, is that correct? The reserves were reduced by 2.7 million, so I'm thinking that 2.7 million went up to cover part of that 17.893 million in capital outlays.
Where is that, the 2.7 million figure? Not-
Now, that's the difference
the
between the
difference.
2025 estimated of 8,758,000 and the 2026 reserve balance of 6,000.
Yes, that's exactly how you're thinking. So as capital, as the expenditures increased, his reserves went down. So, yeah, exactly what you're saying.
But it did, I mean, the capital outlays went up 10 million, but we only had to take 2.7 out of the reserves, so that's
Yeah.
not terrible.
Yes, because of his revenue almost balance it out, basically. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the utility fund? Okay. Stormwater Fund, Fund number 441. There's currently 7.4 million budgeted to include 5.2 towards capital outlay. The reserves are currently 734,000. However, with the increase of rates and grants, the amount will continue to rise for the reserves.
And again, the personnel service estimated in the 26 budget number reflects the planned pay increases for those personnel services.
Correct.
Okay. We're counting for that across the board.
Absolutely.
Good. Got to keep our employees.
Okay, for the Healthcare Internal Service Fund summary, this fund, it was established in 2024. It's our newest fund. It was created to internally track the healthcare service cost to current and separated employees. It's kind of an in and out fund because we bill for the COBRA restoration, those services, and then that also is the expense. So generally
This is just
speaking, that's
monitoring
how it
that,
is.
basically.
Correct. Okay, so now moving on to the 5-year capital improvement plan projections. The next several slides include summaries based upon the department request. City staff is here to answer any project-specific questions you may have as it pertains to their departments. Starting off on this slide, we have IT and the city clerk with their request. If you have any questions, please let us know.
So on the IT, it looks like the server, we had a discussion on that. Is that moving to City Hall? I saw a line item in the fire station to rebuild that server room. Is that redundant, or is that all moving to City Hall, or?
So it's all moving to City Hall, and we're getting new state-of-the-art equipment to replace our aging equipment.
Yeah, so we do need to replace the equipment. Currently, our data center is housed in the fire station, but since we have a new building, we'd like to move that stuff here. So we do need to replace the equipment, but while we are replacing it, we're not gonna put it back in the fire station, we're gonna place it here.
I asked you this question earlier to just say it for the public, that the infrastructure to change that connectivity from going to the fire department to bringing it into the server room in this building is already here. We're not gonna have to do a major mod to this building to put in conduits and all that stuff. It's already there.
Yes, sir, it's there already.
It was planned ahead of time.
No, I was just asking because there was a server rebuild cost under fire. That sounds like that's the sunset. And to move it over here.
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
There's a line item under fire that says rebuild the server room for $15K.
I think they're gonna use it for a separate purpose. We'll ask Justin when he gets back.
Okay, yeah, that might be a project under.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have the police CIP. Do you guys have any questions on any of their requests?
It just looks like we're phasing out the 800 megahertz portable radios and moving to an XG 75M mobile radio instead. Is that correct?
Yes, no, that's correct. I was just, for Commissioner Hutchison's question, so that server rebuild you saw for 51, it's not actually the server rebuild, it's just the AC unit. It was just labeled differently. So just to answer that.
She doesn't answer it. She said I answered it myself.
No, we're not phasing them out, we're just not buying anymore. We don't see a need to go year over year with them, we have enough. So we're not gonna, buying them just to buy them.
What about, aren't you gonna need new batteries?
The batteries we're all set on right now. There's no need to buy them right now.
Okay, so why do we need these new 75M mobile radios?
So the mobiles we do need, Steve, correct? Correct. Yeah, because we have to have those 4 new cars as they come through.
Okay.
Yep.
Cars, Hannah, are the cars on another page?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's not in my budget, so. Anything
It's
else?
not in your budget?
No?
That's good.
Yes,
That's probably
sir.
good.
Anything else for me? Okay.
All the vehicles are budgeted out of fleet, and then we have them itemized by departments. So I'll have that on a separate slide. The next one we have is fire.
What is the commit on the the out year for the fire truck? Do we owe anything, or is that just signing a contract and that will be
No,
incurred then?
at this time, we don't owe anything. The contract hasn't been signed yet, committing us to this purchase. That contract would have to be brought forth to the commission for you guys to agree to it prior to the purchase being made, but the build-out usually takes about 3 years. So Justin would bring that to you guys for approval before proceeding with the order.
So there's no money impact this year, it's just signing a
Correct.
contract for
Yes, it's just the
lead time.
contract and
Got
committing
it.
those funds to 29 if the contract is signed.
Are you, once you sign the contract, is there like pull-out clause, or is it you're obligated?
You're pretty much obligated.
I'm not sure, but I do believe it's just it's a earnest obligation where you have to proceed with the purchase, because from what I understand with all of the build-outs for the trucks, it's all specific to what they're ordering, so it can't go to another customer or user. It's gonna go to the fire department based on the specifications of the order.
If I remember correctly, I think Chief said that there are folks that actually buy those spots and will sell them. And so potentially, if we did get to that point and didn't have use of it, we could probably sell it for a profit.
Okay.
Yeah. It's for a replacement for another engine that is being decommissioned because of age. And from what I understand in the past, the way it's been explained is, yes, Commissioner Jackson, you're correct, because when you lock in by contract to fiscal year 29, you're generally locking in at a lower rate than what the value is at fiscal year 29. So if it came to a point for whatever reason, if that was not needed, the city could turn around, sell it, and make a profit, yes. But in this case, because it's replacing an aging truck, it would be a necessity.
Yeah, and I don't think we look at it as an asset, but I don't think it's a liability in terms of if we decided not to use it, if we found for some reason we didn't have the
We have to
need.
find somebody who wants those exact same specifications.
I don't think,
They don't start building.
yeah, we don't lock in the specs until we get to that point. But to the finance director's point, I think we're gonna need it. I don't think this is an opportunity, but I don't think it's a liability. I think it's a
In order
smart
to.
decision.
Put it in order for 2 and flip them.
Can't. We don't have the money for it.
Not paying anything though, right?
We will eventually.
You don't want to destroy your credibility by doing something like that.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting in a bad spot with making the advanced decision.
100,000 miles on it.
All right, the next few slides cover.
Commissioner, you're advocating for a Ferrari fire truck?
I am not advocating for that at all.
You're making me financially nervous here. I don't know what that costs, but I imagine it's more than 1.29 million.
Oh,
so
no.
As long as it's red, I think it's fine.
It's black. I think it's black,
It meets the
isn't it?
state statutes.
I don't see how any of this is relevant.
I think so, we're good.
There's lights.
We were talking about buying a vehicle for an investment.
I make money on all my vehicles, so.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Okay, so the next few slides cover the divisions housed within Public Works. Starting off with 3110 for field operations. That's what is on your screen.
Can you tell us, we're planning on spending $787,000 on Minuteman shoreline erosion. So that's not a round number, so it sounds like there's something to that. So what are we planning on doing in '26, and what's the follow-on work in '27? And is there any potential for any grant money to cover any of that?
Those were engineers' estimates. That's why we inputted those numbers, and we are seeking grants for that. And this project is to protect our utilities going down Minuteman to the treatment plant. Because
Can you maybe bring us a little 5-10 minute presentation on what that, if he did an engineering estimate, he must have thought, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that, and kind of show us what his envisionment of that work is for Minuteman Causeway, because, people care about Minuteman Causeway.
we can do that if you want to.
Was all right, head nod from the.
Right, this was rebudgeted, right? We've already approved the scope. It was just rebudgeted from prior years. Didn't
Yeah,
get
but we
accomplished.
haven't seen what they're
hang
gonna
on.
do.
This year, we did engineering and design. Those are construction costs.
Okay.
Estimated construction
Okay,
costs.
so we're half baked with this
We're
already.
in permitting right now.
Well, this is exactly what we, one of our first meetings of the year, we designated quite a bit of Minutemen potentially to be a park.
Right,
And if we can get grant money for a park
right.
to shore up the shoreline,
Right.
that would be the way to go. And I knew that was the direction you were going.
Right.
But we need to have a discussion, more discussion down the road about that as well, so.
Yeah, I
It's
just
gonna
like,
happen. It'll all come
I'd
together.
just like an update on
Yeah,
what,
I agree with
what
you.
we're planning on doing in 2026. And what are we taking out, what are we adding, what's it gonna look like for the public?
Okay.
Probably got good opportunity with a fine grant with that, since it's on
Yeah.
the water line.
It's not a navigable waterway, it doesn't have much of a chance.
Doesn't, it's anything to do with access to the water.
Yeah.
I think this is the stub ends of the canal, though, it's not shallow part.
I think it does.
Yeah, the whole thing.
It just has to do with access to the water.
Okay, the next slide is building maintenance, Division 3140.
Will make sense to me.
Yeah, Devin, that's the 15K right there. Let's talk about training room, server, big build. Got it?
Okay, next we have grounds maintenance, 3150.
Good with it.
State Road 520 medians, I think we need a lot more help than 35,000, honestly. That's the gateway to our city, and it's pretty bad when Cocoa Beach looks worse than Cocoa.
I think these are just the ones on our side of the river.
But still, we need to take care of them, and they're not up to standard, in my opinion. I'd like to see 100,000 towards those, honestly.
State road median?
I don't care whose road it is, it's in our city and it looks
Yeah.
terrible.
I agree.
It's an outline year, so what you guys are being briefed on is just fiscal year 26. That's going to go into effect in the budget. The outlying years are just a plan for the future, but those figures could be changed in time. So when we get to fiscal year 27, we can have discussions and add additional funds at your request.
Very well.
I'd like to have it for this year, honestly. The sooner the better. I don't like kicking this can down the road. I've been trying to fight for this since I got into office. Like, that's the first thing you see when you get into Cocoa Beach. It should be like, wow, look at this nice city, not like, they can't even put rocks in their medians.
Why don't we let them, this is our workshop.
I think we need to make it a priority.
Yeah, I agree. So go back when you're done with this on the last page.
Okay, I just want to say that the budget process, these numbers we're seeing tonight, unfortunately, aren't going to be the exact same numbers we see the next go-round. So I think Hannah heard your remarks, and I think she looks like she might see some consensus up here.
We got a
So-
consensus, right?
So let's let her come back with what she might be able to carve out to put into that for 2026. Instead of giving her a number and making her cut something else we don't even know if it's more critical or less critical. Beautification is not as critical to running the city as a lot of other things, so let's just give her a chance to work on it.
I think that's your point, though, is to highlight the priority of it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you guys that I want it to be a priority, and I think you understand that, and hopefully we can try to
Well, let's see.
put that
I
into the
understand
budget.
exactly what you're saying, and, that may change, they may buy a few plants, or, do a little excavating and make a few changes, but that's short term.
Yeah.
That's really short term, because as soon as you stop maintaining it, it's over. That's within 3 months. 3 months, you've got weeds and everything else, everything happening is just a waste of money. So there's gotta be a plan, if that's your high priority.
Yeah.
I mean, and it should be for all of us, that is the gateway to into Cocoa Beach, right? For probably 60% of the folks that come to Cocoa Beach.
When you see that,
Maybe more, maybe even more. So, yeah, if we have
That reflects on
needs
how
to
we
be
run
brought
the
in as
city.
that needs to be brought up as a, something, probably a couple 100,000.
Yeah, I
every
agree,
year.
I agree.
Yeah, to add to Commissioner Tumulty, I think we need to see what it is that we're proposing to look at. Before we start with numbers back into a project, identify, and not here, I agree with Commissioner Williams, identify what it is that, the change that we want to make. And to Commissioner Tumulty, what does it look like to sustain that going forward? Because not just an investment, but a sustainment, and we've got to know what that objective is and what it costs to sustain it. But I think we need to communicate the goal to the
We've never had this
city manager.
conversation that it actually means something to us. So I'm just perpetuating this
So-
conversation.
Oh, we
and
have, other
we all
commissions,
care.
other commissions have, for sure.
Here's the next
Just never got
step.
done.
It's city manager and the staff have consulting contractors that do that kind of work, and they're already on board with us. And if they can fit that into their current budget, give us some concepts of what it could look like, and then we can come up with some pricing following up on that, and we can see how we might be able to fit it in, but we're not gonna be able to do it right away.
Well, we can definitely start raising our parking fees again to pay for it.
Okay.
My admonition would be, and exactly what you're saying, that we get the vision for it, but also budget sustaining it.
Plan.
To
Right,
Commissioner
but we
Tumulty's
can
point.
ask, the consultant will help us with both of those.
Yep. I think that'd be perfect.
Go back one feet. Yes, I had a similar question on the paving. It looks like we're doing no paving. It may have been two
Correct.
charge back, nothing in 26.
Nothing in 26 for
If there's a
paving
way to
for-
peanut butter spread that to get some work accomplished, I know there's been, economies of scale to do it all, whatever.
Don't get me started on it.
But I mean, have 0 in 26 and then 1.3 million in out years, go back.
It was 1.3 for this year, last year, and it got cut because they need the money for keeping the rest of the city running.
For the State Road 520
So it's
medians,
like
with the 35,000 being
Until it
in
gets harvested.
fiscal year 27, that'll allow staff to do the research and find out what the amount is it needs to be changed to for when we propose the fiscal year 27 budget. So it'll allow the department enough time to meet with other consulting engineering firms, whatever it may be, to hear what your ideas are to execute the plan for the vision you all see in place. I think it's best right now to leave it as it is, since it is a balanced budget that's being shown to you all, for the department to go back and get to receive quotes, go through the process, so that way, when we get to fiscal year 27, the appropriate amount is being budgeted for what you all are envisioning.
I'm going to respectfully request that we try to make it happen this year.
Well, okay, here's how it would work. She's working the budget based on the numbers she's given us and some tweaks between now and the final. AJ's gonna get staff with the consulting firm, come up with some concepts, what we wanna do, and the ROM costs of that. If turns out it's $1 million, then it's up to the commission if you wanna take that out of reserves or not. But that's where it would end up coming from while Hannah's working with staff to balance our current budget for 2026. So let's get the concepts, let's get the ROM costs, and go from there.
You're a terrible negotiator. I want this. Okay, let's go. Move forward.
I'm telling you,
I'm
wanted
just
it so
trying to
bad
get-
it should have been done a year ago.
I'm
You know,
just
and
doing-
you need to do it at the beginning of a budget cycle, not at the end of the budget cycle, adding something like this, because it could be $500,000 or $1 million.
I'm just afraid same thing's gonna happen next year.
Well, let's start in January.
Anyway,
Okay. moving on.
just trying to give common sense
I'm with
based
you.
on my
I support it.
experience.
But not today.
Yep.
We got 40 days before the end of the fiscal period.
Yeah.
So this next slide is Division 3170 for capital improvement projects. This is the same division that I mentioned earlier, that I can add a line item specifying the ordinance and what that entails with the endeavored amounts as the commission sees fit. These are the projects that are included within the CIP for the next 5 years.
The bicentennial, that's for sure grant, or that's the goal to get
That's
that
our
grant?
portion.
Hang on, I'm asking Hannah. That's a new scope that
It's
we've,
not fully grant funded, but this is the amount remaining on the project for next year.
Which is the city's portion that we're paying.
Most of that is probably this portion. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
that's the scope we approved already, that this is a new scope they're adding on. Okay. So it's our obligation, we think we can fill that hole with a grant. That's an unknown still.
We've already got grants.
We can't get more grants for that project.
Okay, so it is guaranteed grant funded. It's not, we're
It's
applying
not
for
full
it.
grant funded.
They told us.
But they don't let you fully grant fund things. They make you put up some of your hard-earned money to get the grant,
I'm asking the footnote says grant funded. What does that mean?
partial.
Partially.
Part of the 1.68 is grant
No.
funded?
Yes, part of it,
Hang on.
part of it.
Okay.
Were we not told that it was fully grant funded?
Well, so I think that, and I think the $12 million capping project was also a sticker shock. That was always, oh, it's 100% grant funded.
that
And it's
was-
hang on, let me finish. And it sounds like that got kicked out a year because we don't have $12 million to fund that, because it wasn't grant funded.
It was also struck in a veto by the governor. That's right. So that's where the money went, and that's why we're on hold.
Correct, so we spoke with, so how the mud capping project was advocated in the past was that it was fully grant funded. Upon pulling the contracts, reviewing them, we realized that that was not the case. We did meet with Save Our Indian River Lagoon, and based off of that meeting, along with a call that we had with the governor's office and our lobbyist, it seems that right now, those capping projects are not a priority to receive grant funding. So for that reason, it was removed from the budget.
That's exactly what happened.
And the Bicentennial Park is, what percentage of it is funded by grants? Approximately? Won't hold you to the
I
number.
would say approximately 80% of it is.
Okay. So 300,000 roughly. 300,000.
I don't think that that is the total cost of the work that's being done at Bicentennial Park.
It was over 3 million, that's why I
We've
asked.
already
Right.
incurred a lot of costs this
Right,
fiscal
which
year.
the grants paid for that.
Yes.
Right. So, okay.
It's the original project scope, right? This is just the portion of the scope that's now gonna be billed in '26, correct? And of
Correct.
that, some of that is gonna be Cocoa Beach money, some is gonna be
It's
grant.
going to be the remaining balance on the entire
Got it.
project.
Okay.
Okay, I want to go back to,
Hold on, real quick too, the ADA Boulevard Park, we're gonna spend almost $2.4 million on that park.
Those are estimated costs, so if we get this land, we can start engineering and designing that park. So we'll have a better idea of what the costs are gonna be for construction in the outlier years. So we're gonna use the 26 monies for engineering and design.
Is this the property you're talking about that we got from the Air Force?
yeah.
Yes.
The radar
Okay.
station.
All right. And are we keeping that property?
Yes,
Why?
because we don't get it if we don't keep it.
That's not true.
That is true. That is true.
So we're gonna get a property that's a sliver of a piece of property on oceanfront that we're gonna use as a park, that no one's gonna use as a park. And we're gonna spend $2.5 million to develop this park and then seasonally maintain it. When we've got 6 miles of park in the beach, we have 7 other parks along the beach, yet we're gonna create another park, again, that no one's gonna use.
Do you know the acronym ADA?
American
Skip,
Disability.
are you trying to insult me or what?
No, I'm just trying to say that in my experience in this city, have met a lot of people that would love, that are handicapped people and access challenged, that would love to have a place where they got handicapped bathrooms, they got handicapped parking, they got wide enough sidewalks and ADA compliant ramp going down to the beach with the observation deck, so these handicapped people can enjoy the things that we take for granted just as much as us. This train left the station about 10 years ago to get this property back for the city of Cocoa Beach. And the only way that we were able to get this far in the process is to say we were gonna make it into a park. And
Is that
that's
true,
a good-
AJ?
What's that?
Is that true that the only way we get that piece of property, or that, what if we don't get that property? Who gets it? Who gets the property if we don't get it?
Whoever the federal
Did, I believe.
government gives it to, right? It's GSA or who
So
is
you're,
it?
It's
you're
GSA.
I just don't believe that, I don't think that's the case. I
Anyway,
disagree.
Devin will tell you, we worked, or, no, Morgan, I'm sorry. Morgan, we worked on it with Morgan, and GSA had two ways we could go, and we're under the Department of the Interior for the park application. We've gone back and forth with them twice, and they have now agreed to our site plan to develop that park, and they're in the process of giving us the property. Oceanfront, beachfront property in Cocoa Beach is gonna come back to the city of Cocoa Beach. And
Can I make a suggestion that we put that 300,000 towards 520, and then we start on fiscal year 2027 instead of 2026 for the ADA park?
I agree 100%, and that we give that property to somebody else so they can pay taxes on it for that piece of property to us, instead of spending $2.5 million on a sliver of land.
we've talked, why are you bringing it up now when
I'm
we've
bringing
been
it up now.
talking
I'm
about
bringing
it
up now
for
because we didn't
2.5
talk-
years?
Well, 2.5 years ago, I wasn't on the commission, Skip.
We've talked about it multiple times since you've been on.
No,
it.
that's not true.
Go pull the tape.
I'm not saying pull the ADA park, but I am saying,
All right,
why not?
we're
why not push it?
jeopardizing, we'll jeopardize getting the property into our hands, okay? We can say, we can reduce that we're only gonna do $150,000 worth of design. Would that make you guys happy?
No.
I think we should push it off to the next year and then use that money
I
this year.
think we have to,
for
in
the-
good
for
faith, do
520.
what we told the Department of Interior that we're gonna do to develop that park so that they'll deed it to us
We could
in the
still-
near term.
We could still put it
They
in
don't
the
deed it to
budget for
us.
27.
Commissioner.
Your thoughts, because you were
So,
contact on that.
yeah, in my recollection, my recollection matches Commissioner Williams, that we've talked about this a number of times since I've been on the commission. I agree that while this may not be a revenue generator, it's something that's important to our residents. I really like the 520 idea. I think we've got to have a clear vision, though, of what we want to do there. And I think the process going forward is to get concepts and understand the costs associated with that. If we pull this funding, my guess is we are pulling our agreement with
I'm not saying
GSA.
pull it, I'm saying put it at 2027 instead of
I don't think,
2026.
I would doubt that they wait for us on that. If we try to negotiate.
I say, for right now, leave it in there. Let Morgan do some homework with the Department of Interior and just say, we've got a little budgeting process problem. We really want the property, but we may not be able to put as much money into it in '26 as we thought.
See what they
And
say.
we're gonna have to budget out our follow-on work and let her do that.
It
okay?
doesn't do us any good to move it out. Keep the money in there. If we don't spend it, it rolls forward anyway.
Go ahead, Brad, I think
And-
Brad has
and
something
wait, I
else
have
to
one more
say.
thing on your 520 thing.
Okay.
I just, a little more history. Minuteman Causeway, you like the way it all looks?
Looks
When
nice.
we redid it?
Yep.
It used to look like trash, right?
Except the Whiteson route.
It looks really nice, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The problem is we didn't maintain it.
Exactly.
And I mentioned that back 10 years ago. If we don't maintain it, it's going to look just like it did before we did anything to it.
It still looks better than it did before.
Oh, it certainly does.
But
Because
let
we
me finish my,
spent $5 million.
Let's
can I
hear it,
finish
let's
my
hear it.
history lesson?
Yes, come on.
We envisioned that years and years ago, and over 10 years before that project started, is when we started talking about it, okay? Then we had to put it into a complete streets project, okay? With the plans, the concepts, and all that. And then we had to get it into the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization's 5-year plan. Then we had to get it prioritized, and then we had to go year to year and fight for it to finally get the money to do the job. So that would have been a great thing 10 years ago to say we wanted to do with 520. Maybe we could have got some funding to help support it now. But to be able to go back, we're gonna, right now, if you want to do something in the near term, it's gonna be all on us. And you're gonna have FDOT's approval on anything you do, any concept. anything you do. Because it's their road.
I mean,
and
talking
it's
with them,
their- And it's their right of way.
They seem to be, like, they would be happy to work with us when I talk to them about it, so.
Yeah, they'll work with us if we cough up the money.
They said they got money put aside to help us with it.
Yeah, but that money has to go through the process and be approved and put on the 5-year plan, so it's gonna be a while. But if you wanna go down that route, that's the
I don't
cheapest
care
way to
what
go.
route, as long as it gets done. Honestly, I don't even care if it's our own money at this point. I'm just so sick and tired of driving through 520 and looking at that meeting. I mean, me and Brad have had a conversation about it, me and AJ, the previous city manager. Like, I just want to get it done. I'm just tired of looking at it. Like, that's one of my pet peeves, is driving through Cocoa Beach and seeing it. And you guys are finally, like, you're starting to see it come up. Like, I rarely get super animated about stuff, but we got to find the money somewhere. But, yeah, okay. Go ahead, Brad.
The National Park Service has already requested assignment through the GSA for this property, and they highly recommended that we retain the $300,000 within our FY '26 budget.
Yep.
Okay.
What happens if we don't?
I don't know, I don't have an answer.
You don't take the property, you don't spend the money.
I don't think we get the property.
If we don't spend the money. The money should stay in 26, there's no risk to that. If we don't spend it, it just rolls forward, so I think leave it in 26.
And if I just may, if I have to move any of these projects around in Public Works, I would forego the Minuteman light pole installation if you want that money towards 520.
Okay.
So let me, this may be a Hannah question, the tennis court.
Light pole installation?
So we've been talking about converting the current Minuteman light poles with FPL poles that we would be under contract on. They would install it, but we would have to maintain it and pay them a
Yeah, that's a discussion I think we need to have during our discussion on creating a park and what we're going to do to beautify that before those poles. But it could happen all together. That'd be good.
Wasn't the park just Danube West, I don't recall? This is all the stuff downtown, like Cedar, Sunset?
I do remember Danube West is what
I just
it
don't
said.
know what the park constraints are. I think it's Danube West of there.
It was.
Right. I don't want to
Yeah.
get involved with the residents
I think that's where these light poles
creating a
are.
park in front of their house.
Yeah.
If it's further south, that's great.
Yeah.
No, not if we move that one.
For the record, the 300,000 for the ADU park's still in there for now. All right, I think we can move on.
Hang on, I got a question on the tennis court renovation. They're done. On the tennis court reservations, is that in addition to the one AJ negotiated, the capital we got from USTA?
For the USTA agreement, this is for the fencing and light pole removals. Is that
Okay,
correct?
so it's over and above that,
Yes, so
whatever
this
was
was part
there?
of that contract, the USTA contract that was brought to the commission a few meetings ago.
Okay. Holiday Lane boat ramp, what's going on with that? I know that was in, it was out, there's money
It was
missing.
rebudgeted for fiscal year '26. It was in fiscal year '25. It
Okay.
wasn't completed because there wasn't sufficient funding allocated to the ramp, and it hadn't went through the bid process. So after getting some estimates, the appropriate amount to be budgeted was placed for fiscal year '26, so that we can proceed with the project.
And we think we can do all that in 26, there's no risk of it kicking out?
No.
I understand there's limited bandwidth, but.
This one's hard right now. The Mercado property is gonna be breaking ground in the very near future. And because of the new stormwater requirements that we have, their property is being raised. So it's gonna create an elevation difference between the back of their property and our existing concrete boat ramp. So,
3
yes.
feet.
So we need to take into account that we might have to do more concrete work to match the Mercado's property grade and not just the boat ramp itself. So we really need engineering drawings for this boat ramp to occur. We need surveys done. I don't know if 200 would cover all that.
In permitting. Well, that's another amenity beneficial to the public We're down a boat ramp now.
There's no boat parking there, by the way.
Yeah, which is
No.
a good thing.
No, but it's, you could go, it's a place where you could get a boat out of the water and where you can get a boat in the water. You just can't.
Folks on the
park
north side of Minuteman, you gotta go all the way around Ramp
But
Road.
there's no parking.
there. But the,
Well, I think that's a good thing, and it keeps the visitors from,
right, but the thing is,
the locals using it.
Bicentennial, it's gonna be a while before that's open again.
Right.
Ramp Road is on the horizon to be renovated, and that's gonna close that boat ramp, right? So, it will help to have this additional boat ramp.
So dumb question, Brad, is if the stormwater from Mercado, it's gonna discharge in that direction at some point?
Or aren't they
The
responsible?
discharge- The discharge from that property is actually right at the boat ramp.
Right there on the ramp over top of
The-
it?
the
Can that all
pipe- the
be
pipe goes right
absorbed
through
in
there.
that scope?
But
potentially?
that's the actual culvert.
That's the discharge currently.
That's
It's gonna have some-
that's the actual culvert.
Yes,
Okay.
it's all, their
So they
plans
have to
show it flowing
contain
into
their,
that.
as much stormwater as they can on their property, and then that is the outflow for more than just their property. That's for a whole bunch of properties in that area.
There's two culverts near the end of the boat ramp.
Okay,
There's a big one, and then there's a small one on the northern side of it.
okay.
Brad, are we familiar with the contractor already working on the Mercado, the design and engineering and things like that?
I don't think they've selected a GC, but they do have the engineering firm.
This may not even be possible, but I'll speak from here. The possibility of joining into that project and pitching in and having a contiguous project done where the boat ramp is included and we add in, so that it's not the Mercado and then we figure out how to join into the, join separately into that, but actually leverage
We'd have to
the
partner with them
contractors.
pretty heavily because of the permitting and all that. They're probably not familiar with dealing with the St. John's and
Their GCs would be.
yeah.
I mean, it's, you asked a similar great point on the Dirty Birds renovation is running the electrical conduit to support the Thanksgiving stuff. I
But
think
then
that's
you're
where you're
paying
going,
for
is
one
just
GC, you're
enjoying
paying
those
for one set
projects.
of books.
Right.
A lot of the overhead gets absorbed and you potentially get,
Right.
your pay goes toward labor and materials. It's a thought, I don't know that it's feasible, but
Well,
just.
staff can look into it.
And I just say one of my
If
concerns.
AJ agrees.
One of my concerns is that Mercado's been on the books here, they've been trying to do something for, a year, 2 years, something like that. This might not even happen in the next year, this is, Mercado, and if it does, it's gonna take a couple years to even get to the point where we're gonna spend that 200,000 on that ramp, because you can't build that ramp while they're doing all their stuff.
No, the thought was to join the projects.
But what I'm getting at is, they're gonna start building, and they're gonna have to, it'll take them even if they started in a year, it's probably gonna take them a year to get to the point where you're ready to start joining that stuff, because, it takes a year, 2 years to build things.
Let's leave the 200,000 in there and see what the numbers come back at.
Yeah, all of the items that were budgeted in fiscal year '26 and presented were all based upon the priorities from the departments, from the feedback we received by the commission at the time when everything was put together, and it's balanced as it is now. I just want to give that reminder.
Do you have an update or know anything about when the Mercado or anybody, when they actually plan to break ground?
We ran into Daniel Todd earlier today, and it sounded like he was ready to move on, to move forward on the Mercado. Well, Dave Dickey, Brian Palmer, and I spoke to him in front of Dirty Birds.
And I think that the business incentive for them to do that is to have it up and running at about the same time that the Weston's up and running, so they can get that foot traffic and those customers.
I mean, I'm cool with it. I just want to know if, do we actually know he's going to start on this? Otherwise, the Holiday Lane boat ramp needs to go to the next year.
Well, no, because we can plan the Holiday Lane boat ramp based on the worst case scenario of what Mercado's going to have to do.
Leave it in 26. If something comes up, I like the idea of joining forces.
Okay. I mean, that's a great idea, Josh.
Yeah.
I agree
Let
with you.
staff
If
consider
for
it.
whatever reason we don't proceed with the project, I think it's best to leave it, my recommendation would be to leave it in fiscal year '26. If we don't proceed for the project for whatever reason, it'll go back to reserves, it'll revert back, and it'll be reappropriated in the fiscal year '27 project, however you all see fit.
All right, next.
Okay.
But I do support that.
So the next few slides are all for fleet. These requests are broken out by department, as explained to Commissioner Tumulty before. Starting off with police, we have their request. The next box includes parking enforcement, and then fire department at the bottom of this slide. These all align with the replacement schedule for fleet vehicles.
Right, and the reason the fire truck's not in the fleet CIP is because that's basically a whole different ball of wax. Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Okay,
I believe it was
next.
held separately because that contract would have to be brought to the commission by the fire department to commit to those funds being spent. Oh, sure.
The totals, can you explain the totals?
The totals for each,
Five-year totals.
Well, there's $5.7 million in police vehicles.
I think there's some math wrong. I think there's some math wrong on that last line item, 1.69 million. I'm sorry, 1.986.
You've got,
The cumulative,
you're looking at the first unmarked, or the
under
second unmarked.
Public Works or,
Police Department, Ford
oh,
door SUV unmarked, 26 is 59.5.
But totals 454.
The total is 119.
oh, I see it.
And the
What,
second line is the same, 454, $28.
These dashes are expensive.
you're correct. Yes, we will make that correction, in
Oh,
the
yeah,
totals.
I
It's,
see it.
it's something that's not pulling over correctly in our spreadsheet. We'll have that corrected in the book presented to you on
and
September
if you
4th.
add all those up, they add up to more than 5.7 million.
They had to weigh less. That's the problem. It's that
No,
figure
no,
here.
if we add these up.
It'll drastically change that total. You're absolutely correct. We'll make the change and have it presented to you in the book on September 4th.
And the mayor wants you to use the money on the
No more medians, no.
520.
Commissioner Tumulty just found your money,
You
Mayor.
don't need police cars.
All right, our reserve's okay now.
Okay, the next slide has the fleet budget for
Tim, you
Public
should teach
Works,
math.
Development Services, and Leisure Services. And the last.
You go back one.
Oh, sure.
I think, yeah, I think in the Ford SUV, it looks like it's maybe tied to something associated with the vehicles, but you've got another one there.
This is Public Works.
Yeah, in the development services, there's a four-door SUV that 42 turns 196.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom line, Hannah, your 2026 column is what's in the budget. That's really what
Correct,
matters.
it's just fiscal year '26 that is in the budget. The rest are just projections for outlying
Yeah.
years. Those can be changed, they deviate from year to year, so that's not anything that you all are voting on and committing to at this time.
But you'll correct that 5-year total column.
Absolutely, yeah, that'll be corrected before you receive the budget book. You'll get the
Okay.
pretty book on September 4th.
It was carryover from last year.
Corrected in that.
I saved those.
I might have a copy.
Okay. I believe this is the last fleet slide, and it includes subtotal for fleet furniture and equipment.
How do they turn around those zero-turn mowers if they?
Were some of these generators grant funded, if I recall? Okay, I don't know if you want to put that, the asterisk on there. I had asked the question, did it make sense to have a portable version so we could move it, not necessarily be tied into one facility? It may actually have power in a hurricane and we can't do anything with the generator. And it made more sense to have a portable, but if they're grant funded,
That's a great idea. Plus, you can keep it covered or in a garage where.
Well, I mean, you get more utilization, right? Then you can,
Yeah, but then if you need it due to a lightning strike, taking out the thing on, big old monster on the pole, I forgot what they call them.
antenna?
No, transformer. Then
I don't
you'll
know,
have-
just a thought, if it makes more sense to have better
I mean,
utilization.
You need a generator at a public safety facility.
Tree branch could fall on it too, or, a kid
What?
could walk up to it, throw water on it or something.
I'm just saying,
There's all kinds of, hypotheticals.
I don't keep my generator for my house, my emergency generator, in a storage unit. If something happens, I want it at my house, ready to go.
Yeah, and these generators that we do have budgeted, they are stationary generators because they got to be site-specific for the buildings.
And they're
You
those.
can't take one generator and operate any building with it.
So the fire station here has an elevated generator. Is the fire station, the other fire station's generator gonna be elevated?
No.
Should it be?
The one for North End Fire Station, we can elevate it if needed be, but we haven't planned on it being elevated.
Shouldn't it be elevated in case we have a storm surge?
If you have a storm surge, the
You're
generator would, if your power panels are not higher than your generator.
You're gonna lose the building anyway if you
Yeah.
have a storm
Yes.
surge. Okay. So we lose the generator, $775,000.
Yes.
And the whole building and the fire trucks and everything. Okay. Yeah, to the mainland. Okay, I like the new asphalt roller. That means you're gonna be doing asphalt repairs, spot repairs all over the city, and you need that roller to smooth them out, right?
Yes.
That's what it's
That's
for.
for patching holes.
That's what it's for.
Road.
Okay, we're gonna need that, probably before 2027, but we'll use the old one. Okay, next.
Okay, next we have the CIP for leisure services. We have 3 separate boxes to separate out recreation administration, parks, and then the aquatic center.
You good? You guys good?
Good. Any questions? Okay, the next slide is for the golf CIP.
Now, the golf cart fleet, we rented the current golf carts, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so,
We finance them, we rent them?
They're financed and leased.
they're leased.
It's a lease.
So what that 450,000 is, we get brand new, no, I think that means that we get new golf carts and they take away the old ones.
Can we just buy a bunch from Costco?
Devin's gonna tell us all about it.
No, so right now we have a PNC equipment for the golf carts that we lease now, so it's like you said, so usually the old ones get removed and they get replaced with the new ones, and the 450,000 is to account for the new lease that we're gonna go into an agreement with, that's gonna go over a period of years, just like the one you're gonna see in our debt schedule at the end of this presentation.
Golf carts generate revenue that exceeds the expenditure. And
Over
I
time.
would suggest that we move that up a year because the golf carts are not in very good shape right now.
When does the lease expire? We've already paid it, right?
The lease is already up.
It's by agreement, so we can't renew it prematurely. We have to commit to 27
When does the
to,
lease expire?
I believe it's,
in the debt schedule.
yeah, let me have it on a
How many carts is there, do you know?
future slide.
Approximately 100 carts. 110.
Let's see. It doesn't show the date on that slide.
If we're gonna replace them every year, lease makes sense financially.
It's in 2027 where the.
Well, I mean, whatever duration it is, it makes sense if you're gonna do a lease.
Yeah, it's in 2027 where that contract expires for PNC. So
Stick
it
with
can't be
contract.
renewed until that time since we're committed to it through contractual agreement.
Okay,
Sure. Okay, next we have the CRA, CIP. The project for ramp road parking lot and stormwater improvements includes budget and CRA as well as stormwater utility fund. And that does include a portion of grant proceeds as well. I believe that's reflected in the stormwater side that you'll see in a upcoming slide. Similarly, for the Cedar Woodland Vard project, it's also has a portion allocated to the stormwater fund.
Do you want to put in more money for the Brevard improvements you're talking?
Yeah,
I mean, there's plenty of balance in this fund, correct, that we could
I mean,
put money in 26 to make it available? I don't know if we can execute that quick, but
I absolutely want to do that.
It would,
That would have to go through the CR board, wouldn't
yes, it would have to be brought to the CRA. And that,
And we'd also like to see a concept
No.
and a ROM cost on what you plan on doing before I'm gonna support it.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be brought to the CRA board, so it's the full-on overall budget that you're seeing here, like at this commission meeting, for example. So if you had special requests, it's no different than if you were to give a request to AJ and he talked about it with staff and got back quotes, and be the same concept. Nothing has to be specifically approved by the board.
But we,
it? With the dollar amount.
we don't.
Well, like, for example,
this is
these
budgeting.
aren't.
You're marking the money. All I'm saying is if we think we can get traction, I love the idea, throw it in there as a line item.
I'm proposing on the east side of Brevard, there's sidewalks there with about a 2-foot gap between the curb and the sidewalk. If we could just put pavers in that gap and fill in the weeds and the dirt, we're keeping dirt out of the road, so it's less maintenance. We're widening the sidewalk so more people can access it.
It's a wide road, so it's got potential to put bike paths, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, so what I think about is the parade that got canceled 4th of July, because we couldn't get DOT permits. That could be a backup corridor we could do that in. So I support the Brevard improvements for sure.
And
think you
it's
should-
less maintenance for everybody all the way around, so it'll stay good looking. We won't have to worry about the weeds growing or curbs. I mean,
So should you say, let's say you said earmark 250,000 for something that we have no idea exactly what it's gonna be yet, or what it's gonna cost, and to put the $250,000 in here for Brevard Avenue, that comes right out of the 1.7 million in reserves that we have for future maintenance on the parking garage.
I mean, that place,
I'm just explaining.
it's needed it for,
Okay.
I don't know how
So
many.
you wanna
That's
go-
our last part of downtown is really
You
kind of
want to
wide.
go with $250,000 in FY '26?
I would like that, and then I know that there's probably another 250,000 that's available through the FDOT
Transportation Impact Fund.
Transportation Impact Fund that can be used towards sidewalks as well. So we've got potentially about $500,000 at least to put towards that project. I think that's enough
All
to do
right,
so.
so you just reduced the reserve for the
There is
CRA.
additional budget included in stormwater when we get to that slide, under fiscal year 26. Oh, that's for a different,
No, that's for a different project.
okay, it's labeled out the same.
So same concept, I don't want to speak for Brad, but I'm assuming it's the same thing. We'd have to do the research, he'd have to get quotes back unless he can speak to it now. I don't know the specific area you're talking about, but if he does, and at AJ's request, if we are to add it for whatever amount, just be mindful if the amount comes back larger, it might get moved to a different year, but like you've said, Commissioner Hutchison, it falls back into reserves either way if we don't go through with it, so.
Okay. I'd like to do that.
All right. Add a line item for 250 in 2026 for potential Brevard Avenue improvements.
Brad, how realistic is the
On
metal
north,
conduit?
on the north end.
The metal conduit on the parking garage, is that a real risk? It didn't seem, 30,000 seems like a lot for
What?
the parking garage, rusted metal conduit, rusting metal conduit.
Yeah, it's rusting.
I think that's a fair number, but I've also been speaking to staff, our city electrician. He might want to undertake this project ourselves.
Oh, that'd be great.
So I don't want to speak for him, but we've had discussions.
Yeah.
And it's, because it's not just replacing conduit, you're pulling wire, I mean,
Well,
it's.
and not only that, but a lot of that conduit is encapsulated in concrete,
Right.
Yep.
and it's corroding inside the concrete.
In 3 years?
It's longer, it's been longer than 3 years.
40 or 5 years, 4 years? The parking garage?
I think it's 7 years, yeah.
Long enough for the elevators to die. All right,
And be out for a year.
next.
Okay, the next few slides are for the utility system CIP request.
Can you next time put on the bottom slide 20 of 120 or something like that, so I kind
I
of have an
promise we're
idea
near the
where the
end.
end is?
You gotta figure out where his pee break's gonna go.
Okay. Any questions on this slide?
And another good practice for doing this is anything you want to slip through, do it at the end when we're fed up and tired.
One running out of gas. Hey, for the record, I read all 576 pages of the detailed budget.
We wanted to, ensure transparency. That was the feedback that was received, so we figured giving you the comments, justification, it was exactly what was requested.
it.
Thank you for that, Hannah. It was it really was, professional grade. Content's out there. Appreciate it.
All right, next.
Okay. So here we have the stormwater CIP with those projects. Again, it's only fiscal year '26 that we're committing to. The rest for the outlying years are just projections for what the department would like to do in the future.
Can I ask about the vac truck? 'Cause I know didn't we just buy one?
We bought one in utilities, but this is a smaller vac truck for the stormwater department. They have a lot more tighter areas to get down to their.
That one was it was a trailer, right? That we bought?
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, I don't know when we purchased that, but it's been a few years. But this is like our big vac trucks?
Yeah.
It's like a mini version of that one.
So the one on the trailer won't suffice?
That's up to stormwater. Morgan can speak for that.
I agree with you, because driving motorhomes, having a chassis and diesel and all that is just hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you can get a trailer that's used in multiple locations, maybe it's a bigger version of
See
that.
what Morgan has to say.
So in fiscal year '27, we're requesting for the back truck, which is a smaller version, like Brad said. It's mainly because currently we have to use water recs, which means we have to use water rec employees to help us out. So if we get our own, we can do it ourselves, and also our pipes are way bigger than theirs. So it's just, we would need our own truck.
So you don't want to share between departments, is what you're saying?
Well, we currently do, but,
I don't see a problem with that, honestly.
okay.
I think you should be able to share between departments. I'm not really for that, but that's 27, so it doesn't matter. Okay, thank you.
The asterisk for grant funded, is that 100% grant funded?
I believe partially grant funded.
Partially grant funded? Okay.
So the vulnerability assessment, that one is fully grant funded. Ramp Road, all of that's grant funded except for 80,000 of it. The golf course vegetation harvest, I discussed this one at the last workshop. That one would be fully grant funded if we receive the grants. If I don't receive the grants,
We don't
not
do it.
moving forward. And then that's the same with the floating vegetation islands at Maritime Hammocks also. And then for the Cocoa Isles Bio swale, that one, I forget how much I put in. Right now we have 250,000 grant funded, already have the grant designated, but applying for additional ones. So in that one, it's only partially grant funded.
Thank you.
Yep.
On this slide, I also noticed that the 5-year total for vulnerability estimate has an error, so that correction will be made before you receive the book on September 4th. The total is incorrect.
So Hannah, real quick, all the ones that are asterisk, that are grant funded, if they're partial or not, we have what we think will be our obligation built into this, right? We're not going in assuming we're getting 100% grant funded and getting a sticker shock when we have to pay out of pocket. We
Correct.
have our best guess of what our obligation will be? Okay.
Correct. Okay, we're nearing towards the end. For the CIP, this is
Sounds like
a
a
summary
preacher.
of all of the funds. And this encompasses all departments that we just went over in detail.
On that, so you're confident the math at the bottom of each column is accurate? There's not any fat fingers there?
I'll go back and verify the total since there was errors in the previous slide with how everything was totaling over to just ensure that there were no errors.
That's fine. The only reason I bring that up is so a thing to note is there is some drop off in capital in out years. So just think about that, right? 31 million is going to 17 million in 2 years. So we're probably not going to grow the city to, so we have, I guess what I'm saying is we have some opportunity to move projects out or in or add scope in later years. Because it drops off pretty heavy.
Other expenses will go.
Hopefully not 17 million.
Okay. This next slide is the debt summary. We have it color-coded by fund, starting off with the general fund obligations, CRA obligations in the lighter shade blue underneath, and the utility system obligations, and lastly, stormwater indicated in red. The total debt service balance projected by September 30th, 26 is $33.3 million.
So talk to me about the golf carts. It looks like we 146K and then we still have 770. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be paid off next year.
I believe it's December, but I'm not sure off the top of my head when that contract expires. I know that we have to log into the new contract, committing those funds for the renewal.
And this looks like it's like 4 or 5 years out before we.
Okay, we'll follow up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want to take that negative equity and roll it into the next.
Sure.
You're saying,
Yeah, I'll verify that one and follow up with you all.
yeah, how do we get from
146 to 770. 146 to pay off 770 is 4 to 5 years.
No. I think what you're saying is sometime in 2026, we're gonna have to, which you put in the budget, or was it 450 for the golf
That was
carts?
the new golf cart.
Next year.
That's what I'm
Do we
saying.
have to commit that in 26?
Yeah, the 26 principal reductions in interest payment you're seeing is right, but for that remaining balance, that 770,000 is not accurate. That's
It's like
probably-
146.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to change
Okay.
that.
Just want to, because we wouldn't want to take excess balance, roll it on top of that 450
course.
for the new cards. Got it.
Okay, and our last slide, per state statutes governing municipal budgets, it's required that 2 public hearings held with attendance of the commission. The first public hearing we have is set for September 4th for the tentative millage and budget, and the second public hearing for the final millage and budget is set for September 18th. Both hearings are included in regular commission meetings. And that is it.
Can we start this, city manager, can we start those meetings at 6:30 for the extra content? You said it'll be go along with the regular city commission meetings.
I think 6 o'clock would be even better. To start our actual meetings at 6 would be
It's gotta be
great.
what was advertised.
Yes, it has to be.
It has to be whatever was advertised. I don't know what was advertised.
Well, what did the
7.
bottom of that slide say? I thought it said it would be part of the regular commission meeting.
Yes, for 7
And
PM.
if it was advertised at 7 PM, we can't, it has to be the first item on the agenda, and it has to start when we advertised it.
The statutes have very specific guidelines for
And
when
we've
the
already
hearings have
advertised
to be held, so
We can't, it has to be the first item on the agenda. Is it legal if we convene the commission, do the prayer, the pledge, any special presentations, and go over things like that aren't new business? Because this would be considered new business.
It has to be the first item on the agenda. End of story. I mean, that's what the statute
So
says.
before the prayer, before the invocation?
No,
before
the
roll
first
call?
substantive, but.
What about special presentation? If we're gonna have one, can we have it before?
No,
Hey, this is a great point. This is
No.
a perfect opportunity. We probably can't change this for this particular meeting, but I really think we should consider moving our meetings, our regular meetings to 6 o'clock. You've got, look how much staff we have here, and they've already been here probably 12 hours today. They've probably some of the golf course folks have probably put in 14 hours today. And I just think it just, it makes sense for us to start, but it's not gonna happen at our next meeting. These next meetings are set, 7 o'clock, there's nothing we can do, but it's a great point to consider starting our meetings at least an hour earlier.
And I would agree with that, and we can probably get the mayor to agree with that during the wintertime when it gets dark early, but in the summertime, he likes that extra hour of daylight, so.
I like it at 7 personally, but.
But in the wintertime, you wouldn't really care, would you?
So how much money are we losing by having, 20 employees here at a meeting 2 to 3 hours after they get off work?
I don't think we're losing
Up to
it.
midnight some nights.
I don't think we're losing
Because
any
it goes
money,
that
but
late.
I don't think we're improving morale.
Both, I think both. It's both.
Yeah. All right.
I just,
I'm willing to support 6 o'clock if you want to bring it back, and if you want
the
to,
next meeting we'll do it,
if you want to,
maybe.
if you want to make it where it's based on the time changes, 6 o'clock in the wintertime and
5 o'clock in the
7
summer,
o'clock in the summertime.
6 o'clock in the summer, 5 in the morning.
I'd be more open to that, yeah.
Yeah.
Savings adjustment?
Wanted to say, Hannah, thank you, and to all the staff. AJ, thank you. This
Excellent work.
was really good.
Public comment?
Actually, I want to say too, thank you, Hannah. That was a great presentation. Thank you, staff, for sticking by and putting up with our questions and everything. And like I said, moving forward, for me, one of the key things is I really want to make a priority is to maintain what we have and to beautify what we have moving forward. That's why it was something I wanted to do previously, but moving forward from now on, I really want to try to make it a real conscious effort to do it, because the way I see it is, the general public, they don't come to these meetings that you see, and they don't really know how everything operates. Our liaison, what people see outside is how they think that we run stuff internally. So everything that you see outside is a direct reflection of us. And to me, I think we could do better with our maintenance, and I think that it's really important that what people see out there, they also think that we're doing internally as well. So that's why, to me, I want to make it an extra priority, because I do get a lot of comments about the general look of Cocoa Beach. I mean, it's nice, but it could be a lot better. So thank you. Go ahead, Janice.
Good evening. So first of all, I want to say that it was a great budget presentation, better than most I've seen in the past. A lot of detail, a lot of explanations. I think the public appreciates it, so thank everybody.
All two of you.
And you all, when you vote to lower the millage at the September, 5th meeting, lower it to the rollback. So here are a couple of things that are really completely redundant. AJ will probably start laughing, because the city did get a lot of money from FDOT back in the day to do a median project on State Road 520. They wanted the city to send a staff member to Arizona to purchase Tahiti date palms that are native to the Sahara for $15,000 or $20,000 a piece. And I put the kibosh on that. So anyway, when you go to consider landscaping 520, Myra and FDOT did that complete project that you're admiring so much. However, those royal palms are way too big for that location. If one of those palm fronds falls off and hits a car or a motorcyclist, that'll be the end of them. And now the roots of those trees are lifting up all those beautiful pavers. So that's another maintenance project that's coming down the road for them. So when you go to landscape in Cocoa Beach, this is the saltiest environment on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Salt, wind, heat, cold, and drought. So if you don't find native plants even don't all fit that criteria. That's a criteria that needs to be followed. 1.5 million I'd like to see that, the maritime hammock. I know they're gonna put something in the pond, that's fine, but we were obligated 20 years ago to get those invasive species out of there, and that money should be spent towards that. Not that I wouldn't enjoy the plants in the pond. I don't know who inspected the parking garage and allowed metal conduit to be used in this environment, salty environment. I'd like to see data in the future about who is coming here that us residents are paying for visitors to use these recreation facilities. I know they'll never pay for themselves. However, I think they could make a bigger contribution. Otherwise, first of all, you do need data. Who exactly? How many? Are there more visitors than residents? And maybe take a better look at that. It's a big expense. Thank you.
Yes. Sure, come on up. I would just say that, I heard a lot of good proposals, and I 100% agree with the mayor and with Commissioner Tumulty on the entryway. Not sure about that park over in Ocean Beach Boulevard. I'd have to look a little bit more at that, but the final millage rate hasn't been set. And I would recommend that all of you take a look at all of these items and figure out what it's going to take to pay for all of these items. And maybe if you have to adjust that millage rate, it looks like 6.00 is like a compromise number. Yeah, it's a great round number, but maybe 6.1 or 6.05, I don't know what it is.
Can't
Might
go
just-
up, can't go up.
You can't go up from. That was our voted maximum. Well, then it's the same situation that I've seen every budget process every year. Every single year, we set this low millage rate, and then we scramble about, and well, this needs to be done, that needs to be done, and we scramble around to find money. Maybe next year we can get it right.
I suggest we go to a double rollback, maybe.
All right, any other public comment? I think that was the only two public that was out here, right? All right.
Double rollback. Find other
Meeting
places to
adjourned.
spend money.